All right, Crossroads Podcast number 57
Damn.
with the hosts Jake Ryan and James LaFountain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, buddy, should we hit the intro before we dive in?
Yeah. Let's run it.
All right, the intro made by James. The music.
Yep. Video by Jake Ryan. I can't hear it.
What? Oh. Dang it. I forgot to hit the button. All right. Now.
It's only the 57th podcast.
Dude, I don't know why the share sound thing doesn't just stay on.
For sure.
All right.
There's a place where deals are made and legends are born.
You boys know what to do. Sure, we know what to do. And that is not to let the devil know anything.
I went through the crossroads.
I couldn't see the video for that.
Oh my God.
I heard it, but
wow. I'm just really messing things up today, huh? I'm fired.
Next time, dude.
Next time, the devil is not happy.
Right. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, he's like, dude, number 57. It's done. No.
Oh, dude, you got trucker hats made up?
I got one.
Sick.
It was like a Vistaprint.
Is that embroidered?
Yeah, it is.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It was like $20.
That's what's up.
You got a busty?
I'm rocking a trucker hat today, yeah.
You got the rope on yours, huh?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this is the material is kind of like that thin canvas type stuff.
Oh, I like the is it like camo?
Yeah, dude, this is like my favorite fucking busty hat. It's got the fucking, it's just a type of camo. There's probably a name for it.
Oh, is it a Velcro back?
No, but it's got a cool cool clasp thing on it.
It looks like an actual like army hat or something.
It's sick, dude. I think fucking trucker hats are my thing.
Yeah, dude, I like trucker hats. You know, I do. This one's a flex fit. And, you know, I've got a bunch of the snapbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually didn't realize this was a flex fit. But I do like the flex fit.
Right.
Except it's kind of tight. I got all this hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude. On my snapbacks, like when I go to work, I got to go to like the last snap.
Really?
Yeah, because I'll put my hair up in like a bandana, like a gator neck bandana, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that one's dope though. Dig it.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I bought like 5 hats from him and like 3 or 4 shirts.
Nice. I still haven't met him. I should hit that guy up for a podcast sometime, huh?
I mean, he might be down. He's dope.
Maybe. What we need to start doing. Wait, is that his name?
Bennett is his name.
Oh, it's like kind of a nickname or something.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if
call him Bennett.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know if anybody calls him that.
I like the name Busty. It makes me think of like big boobs.
Yeah, that's. I was at the gas station one time and I was wearing one of the shirts.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, this dude comes up to me and he's like, hey, is that kind of like a chick with big tits? Or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, dude.
Nice.
No, I was like, oh, it's like a skateboarding thing.
Right. Otherwise, and it makes me think like bust a move, like busting a trick.
Or like Seattle or bust type shit.
Oh yeah, true that. It looks like a fishing hat.
I don't know, dude. I don't even know what's the point of these right here.
I don't know. I cut mine off of one of my other hats because it was like too tight. I think the hat got washed and it like made it weird and it made it too tight, so it like warped the hat, and so I just cut it off and then it was fine.
Dude, I fucking washed my AirPods the other day, my
Oh
new
no.
ones. Yeah. They
The
still
day.
work though. No,
Oh,
dude.
sweet.
Somehow I was like, because I was unloading my shit from the washer and they're magnetic for the
yeah.
charger or whatever, the
To
MagSafe
charging
charger.
port.
It's just the wireless charging where you like set it down and it wireless charges. It does that through a magnet. So it's got a magnet in it, and I was like looking in the washer, getting all my clothes out, and it was like stuck up inside the washer. And I'm like, fuck. But then I tried them out right away, and it worked. So
you got like a unit, a washing like shared facility?
Yeah, but I usually go over to my cousin's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because you got to pay at this place too.
Yeah, and also I'm not trying to like hang out over there, run into anybody.
Any old horny ladies are like, "Hey, young man."
For sure, dude. For real, dude. It's like, I mean, I'm pretty polite and like I'm super down with like, you know,
old ladies. I'm just kidding.
yeah, well, yeah, but like just keeping the peace with your neighbors and all that, you know.
Love thy neighbor.
But like, man, some old people will just keep you there, you know, talk your ear off.
Oh yeah, true that. I hate that. Even when I'm like trying to work, sometimes, you know, the contractors will try to jibber jabber, or homeowners are like the worst.
For sure.
If you're doing a remodel and they just want to be like, especially if they've been working on their remodel, most of them do like stuff themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So then they like eyeball you, keep asking questions. This one dude the other day, he's like, keeps poking his head in like through the masking. We're like spraying. Just pokes his head in. Casey's like, well, anybody does that, I just spray him. But yeah, dude. And then he goes, he's like sipping his coffee, you know, and he's like, hey, do you guys want me to do this or that? And sorry, my Adderall is kicking in right now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, geez, buddy, you're getting all wired right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's pretty crazy. Fucking, I don't know, like I get it. There is an importance to like having talks and shit, you know, like at work and stuff, you can kind of tell when you know, because like at the shop where I work, when we show up, for the most part, we'll have like just a meeting every morning, you know, and just talk about safety shit and just where we're at and work and all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can tell like when that doesn't happen and there's not a lot of like, even if it's just going over the same shit, you know, things kind of start to get a little less organized and you know,
If
I think it's
talk.
Yeah, like you just kind of. So I get it with old people when they're like, you know, they don't really get that a lot. And you see someone walking by and they're just like, oh, hey, how you doing? And you try to have a whole ass conversation when you're just trying to do your laundry.
Yeah, true. People do get lonely and they just want somebody to talk to. It's not, especially for them, they're not like us that are like connected, like virtually, like we're able to talk like this. They might, I don't know, but most of them are like, I don't know how to do a FaceTime and, you know, do a virtual call. And I mean, who knows if most of them even know how to operate like their cell phones.
For sure.
When you start getting really old, like my dad, he doesn't really understand a lot of that stuff still. He got a smartphone and I'll send him, he's like, hey, will you send me that link or send me that YouTube video?
Right.
And I'll just send him a link to a text message and he's like, how does this work?
Yeah.
Just click the link, it'll open up right away,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude. It's crazy how, like, you know, it doesn't really matter how old you are either. Like, you could be pretty young. So I know people around my age, like, that just don't really know shit. Like my cousin Corey, she really doesn't know shit about electronics. Like, she might know how to like work the TV, you know.
oh yeah, Kayleana's not so savvy either. And then there's some old folks that they're like, they know it, you know?
For sure, exactly. Well, because they live with Chase's grandma,
Mm-hmm.
Corey's husband Chase,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like that, dude. Like, she does all her own shit for the most part. Like, you know, she's on Facebook, and you know, and communicating is kind of like that too. Like, some older people like will be coming in with their, like, they just don't know what's going on, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, just straight up like talking?
But like on the
They don't even know how
internet,
to
you know?
talk.
Yeah. They're fucking idiots, man.
Yeah.
But no, like, you know what I mean? Just that, you know, people will be fucking around or something, and then it's just that generational thing. But then you see the same thing where it's like there'll be some really, really old person that's just with it, you know. They're just cool, you know.
Well, you know, it makes me think. I went to my first like. My cousin Casey has been inviting me to like a men's group, AA men's group.
Mhm.
So I went to my first one yesterday,
Mhm.
and it was pretty intense. But there were some guys in there, you know, of course, talking, telling their stories, and some guys that were like, if I could just put it into the right words, you know, but I'm not that good with words. But I'll tell you, man, dude, I was sweating like right when I walked in.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, dude. I had to hold back my tears sometimes
Hmm.
because I was just like, holy shit, I'm here right now.
Right.
But it was good.
For sure. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
it's cool.
I was trying to just sneak in and sneak out, you know?
Yeah.
But of course, when they're like, any first timers here? I'm like, eh. And
I would have been like, no, man. I mean, you could have totally too. Like, if you would have just kept your mouth shut, you'd be like, no, dude, I do this shit all the time.
yeah, true that. And so then some guys, of course, were like, hey, Jake, it's your first time. And, you know, then they kind of talking right to me.
Right.
And then there was a few guys that would like kind of put the talk to me directly while sharing with everybody. And then, of course, they're like, when the guy kind of leading the meeting was like, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story so we can get to me more? I'm like, fuck.
Hmm.
I didn't think I was going to have to share my story today.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just pretty simple, but, you know, just kind of explain why I wanted to quit, which is just like, man, I can't control it. Once I start, I can't stop. Might wake up
Right.
in jail or the hospital or somewhere, and after having a wife and kids, I'm like, dude, I can't
Hmm.
keep doing this. And but yeah, so I'm gonna try and do that more often now.
That's pretty cool, man. Something I just thought, like, I think it's kind of cool, man, because, you know, it's pretty much the same thing with me. And like, I'm sure, you know, we both got stories that are like, yeah, that's not good.
Uh-huh.
But nothing like really bad happened, you know, like, and I think that's kind of, it's pretty cool, man, because I think it's more common now that people are just like, you know, it's probably around our age too. But people are just realizing that they're, you know, they don't have like such a healthy relationship with it. And it's not that anything really crazy bad happened. Like, you know, because I've heard stories of like people in my family and like my parents and all the people they used to run with and shit. And like, I'm like, I have no idea how you guys are alive or like not in prison or like some
Yeah.
crazy.
All right. We had a technical difficulty. I don't know what happened, but it froze.
Be back.
And we back. What you were saying, just how thankful that nothing extremely bad happened from alcohol.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that, and I think it's becoming more common too, that people are quitting just because, quitting ahead of time before anything bad real happens.
Yeah, I may have been talking before. I've been working in Great Falls on that bank. And yeah, I ran into a few guys that have been sober for a while. And yeah, I guess we could kind of realize when things started getting bad, like, even if it was, mental health, physical health, or just like relationships. And even for me, like my work, I would just stop caring about like working,
Right.
which is weird. I don't know. I guess it's that part of me that's just like, fuck it,
Dude. Yeah, because I actually quit for, it was quite a while. It was a few months. It was like, I want to say it was like 6 months or something. I quit for a while.
Mhm.
And then pandemic happened
Mm.
and I wasn't working and the fucking world was ending. So yeah, I went into major fuck it mode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. Well, I would use alcohol. Well, I just got so used. At first, it was like, oh, I'm gonna party, you know, have fun and be more social. So I'm a pretty
Mhm.
shy guy, actually.
Mhm.
And chicks, when I was like, well, I want to have more courage to like make a move here and not be so self-conscious about my body, or like, am I gonna be good enough, am I gonna have a big enough wiener?
Right.
I always hated that shit where it's like, all right, it's time to like, get down, and it's always like, y'all, it's all good. I've never fucking had nobody be like, oh my god,
Right.
but it's that
Yeah.
self-consciousness, low self-esteem type stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, the alcohol for that initially. And then it was like, oh, to feel better, like my body would hurt from like work. I'm like, well, this makes my muscles and my body feel better. I can numb the pain. And then it was just like, fuck, if I'm pissed off, having a bad day, the booze. If I want to sit and write a song, I'll be more inspired if I'm drunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. And then it's just like, fuck, everything I do, I want to drink now.
Right. For sure, man. Yeah, it's like the whole like definition of addiction is uh, something that you want to quit, but you keep doing, or something that is bad for you and you keep doing it anyways. So
Yeah. That is the weirdest
it's,
thing. Insanity
yeah,
and or whatever, like what the outcome will be, but you keep making the same choice, thinking it'll be different. And that's what I would think. Is like, well, maybe I could just have one. And
right.
I get like a double tall can. And it's like, no, dude, as soon as I drank that one, I'm just craving another. And then I think that's what they say with the alcoholism. Well, at least that's what I've been learning, is how they say it's an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body, something.
Hmm,
And I still fight it,
for sure.
like I'm watching, videos about my favorite rock bands and stuff like that. And it still is like kind of triggering where it's like, oh man. But Most of those guys had to clean up anyways, because it's like, dude, you took it way too far. Just an
Right.
extremist. I'm just a binger. If I'm doing anything, I'm binge it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. It's a balance, man. Like, you know, I do. There is something like pretty cool about the whole like Hunter S. Thompson kind of like fuck it all
Mm-hmm.
mentality, you know. Um,
I kind of was into that, for a while. Of like, let's see if I experiment with this substance, how my art will change.
right. Yeah, man. I mean, for sure, yeah. It's
But then I was like, well, what's it like if I don't do anything?
right. Yeah. I don't think it's like better or worse. It's just different, you know. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be making different shit. If you're sober, doesn't mean it's gonna be worse. Like there are things that are like for sure you're more productive when you're sober, you know. You might
Yeah.
not be like as like in tune or whatever, you know, whatever reason you're like trying to.
Like getting the vibe going. Like, for example, something I always think of is like, I'd be addicted to psychedelic drugs, while even just marijuana or mushrooms. LSD was my favorite, especially to sit down and make music. Because for me, it felt like I could tap into like the ether so much better. It was like easier to just tap into like the spirit world
Yeah.
and let it like flow through me easier, to the point where it's like I don't even really have to think about it. It just happens.
Mhm.
And where I would tap into more of like a primal thing where it felt like, the universe, or even almost like a caveman mode, where I'm like, dude, I'm like tapping back into the primal.
Mhm.
And I love that feeling of like the cosmic nature, tribal feeling. I don't know. And
For sure.
so trying to figure out how to tap into that again without it, I'm like, God, I got to get there.
Well, for sure it's possible. And, you know, like we live in such a weird time that because like there's too much available for us. And I think we are supposed to be sober, you know, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I do think, but just like the way humans have existed for like hundreds of thousands of years is probably like, you know, just being sober, you know, like probably didn't call it that back then because like it wasn't
Yeah.
a problem because you could just go to a store and get, you know, but I'm sure those experiences were there, you know, like I'm sure
Oh,
people.
for sure.
So like I think being sober is its own experience. And it's not, I mean, it is better, I think, you know, as far as like being sober from the things that are hurting you, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing is, because still in my mind, I'm like, well, I do want to have like ayahuasca ceremony one day, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna be like, oh my god, get high on ayahuasca, because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go through a fucking very strange trip, and I do love those trips. I'm just trying to be a little more like a sacred, like treat them like a sacrament. Where as before, I would treat them like breakfast,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, I think that's what the experience is supposed to be, you know, is like have those experiences, but for the most part, it's up to you to like be able to incorporate that, or you know, whatever you learn from that, work on that in real life, like with nothing else, just by using your knowledge and just like what you already have inside of you, you know, because that's honestly, that's what it is. Like, you don't really need anything, like, for the most part. Like, yeah, you need food and shelter, and then after a certain point, like, your needs start to, you know, like, you need community and all these other things, you know. But
Right.
for the most part, like, you know, you only need so much, and all these things that we think we need, like, there's stuff that it's just stuff that we want, you know. And then when you get it addicted to shit, and then it's available all over the place, um you know, like, it's just,
Like
I
the rock star.
don't know. For sure, dude.
I need
Fucking
my rock star.
bro, yeah, like caffeine and nicotine, like, that's what I'm thinking of. Of course,
Yeah.
alcohol is widely available.
But yeah,
um
nicotine. I'm sure they'd be like smoking tobacco, back in the day, like pure tobacco
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
right.
But once they started making cigarettes with like all the additives, dude, cigarettes were hard to get. You still smoke cigarettes?
I'll have one every once in a while.
Yeah, dude, they're so hard to get off of. Like, I've quit them multiple times. I haven't been smoking at all nowadays.
Right.
My wife still smokes, but that's why I don't. Because I'm like, fuck, if I have one, I don't know, I might just be back on. And I even thought about that last night. I don't know what I was watching. Like, it was like a documentary about Johnny Thunders, an old kind of like punk rock guitar singer, dude.
Right.
And when people are like, he was like the epitome of a rock and roll punk, blah blah blah. And at a point in my life, that's what I identified with, where it was like, I almost like I wanted to become that. There was a point in my life where I was like, I want to be the sober person, and then I was like, no, I just want to be the rebel.
Right.
I'll do whatever. Smoke cigarettes every time you see me, or whatever. Slash, have it hanging out, where it was like part of your character. It's weird.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it is weird, but people do it, you know. And it reminds me of shit like Lil Peep, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
um and just a lot of people that are in that position, and
Oh yeah, like
shit like that.
his kind of character or identity, or even all of his friends he's surrounded with.
Yeah, and just even like lean culture, and just rapping about drugs.
And what the audience might want you to be, or who they want you to be.
Yeah, just like, I mean, you can't blame people for doing something that works, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm not against rapping about drugs or drugs
I've
in.
definitely done it a lot. That used to kind of even be
Yeah, I mean,
what I represented or whatever.
it's just it is what it is. But like, you just gotta imagine that it's hard to get away from that when it's everywhere, and then, you know, you're basically getting paid to do that. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I was talking to homies. We were eating at the bar restaurant in the hotel, Great Falls, Best Western, and they had a guitar player in the corner singing.
right,
And homie was talking about like, man, this is cool. And I was like, yeah, dude, I love live music. And I was saying like, I used to do gigs like this, where like sing some cover songs in the corner, throw in some of your own tunes. And I was just saying kind of like, I don't really want to do that type of stuff anymore. I want to do like more put on a theatrical performance and get a good band. And also, when I would be doing those bar gigs, just getting fueled with drinks. So then it became like, well, I mean, this is kind of part of the gig. Like, I'm up here, I get drunk, everybody else is getting drunk, and we say, hey, cheers, everybody, go grab another beer,
Right.
whatever. And then I'm just getting sloshed, and people and then in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm getting drunk with everybody.
Hmm.
And I don't know, probably getting a little sloppier. But and then I'm like, once I start getting drunk, I'm like getting more into it.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like a lifestyle thing.
I mean, honestly, that's the number one reason people drink is because it makes you not give a fuck. And it does have that.
I don't
Like
give a
that-
fuck if she's fat. I'm getting that. No.
Dude, yeah. Yeah. So it's like it serves its purpose, like it's valuable in that way, because like everybody has that, being self-conscious and self-aware.
By the way,
like,
I don't care about, I don't judge people if they're large or small. Just so anybody out there is like, hey, I'm fat,
right.
I love fat people. I don't even want to say the word fat.
Why not?
I don't know. It's like PC now. I don't even know if you can say that.
I'm pretty sure you just did.
I
What's
know.
gonna happen?
Somewhere, God is disappointed and he's like, oh, but some
fine.
folks just love the large they're more into that, dude. I just started a feet finder account. Did I tell you that?
No.
I'm gonna take pictures of my feet and put them up for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm like, dude, people are into feet.
Yeah.
I'm doing a dirty feet, like, because I'm like, well, I got like dirty hippie feet,
Right.
So take pictures. I want to make some artistic pictures, then just do like nature pictures, or like, yo, you can make videos too, so it'll be like, okay, I'm gonna squirt like Hershey's chocolate syrup all over my feet.
Yeah. I mean, I can't hate the hustle, man.
Dude, I'm trying to get my wife on it now because I'm like, dude, you have 100 shoes that you never wear.
Mm-hmm.
All of these like high heels and shit.
Dude, I mean, I don't know why like every woman on the planet isn't selling their feet pics.
Dude, even the guys, somebody's like,
no, I don't. I honestly didn't know. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I guess
dude.
Of course.
But so, Kayliana asks me, she's like, oh yeah, like people want to see your hairy feet. I'm like, I don't know, maybe they do. I'll shave them, I guess. And
Right.
I'm telling the guys at work, and my cousin's like, maybe they want to see a video of you shaving your feet.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah, dude. Everything you can think of, something nobody else is doing. I'm like, I don't know, put it in some Skittles, squish it in the mud.
I got one.
What?
You should do one of you shaving your feet, but then you should also do like a time lapse of the hair growing back.
Oh my God. Somebody out there's like, I just love watching the hair grow back.
Dude, I like, has anybody done that? Like, that's got to be, that's a thing people, you have to try to find shit nobody has done before. Like that dude that like, he'll like suction cup the sticks to his nipples and then he'll like knock off the poker chips, and like he just does these crazy stunts and like little trick shots and shit, but like he just uses his nipples.
Oh, I've seen that guy.
But it's like he's the first guy to do that, so he just got really good at some really obscure, stupid
His
thing.
niche, yeah. Well, if you like took a picture of your feet and then Photoshop it so you have like, like 20 toes on one foot or something. I don't know. Somebody out there's like, oh my God, dude, I don't know. And one of these dudes who was like, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think people are doing with your photos? I'm like, oh, are you trying to say somebody's out there jacking off to my picture? I'm like, well, they could be doing that to the Facebook picture,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, for sure. Like chicks will post pictures and it'll show their feet and they'll like blur their feet out.
really?
Yeah, I've seen that.
They're like self-conscious of their toes. You're like,
Oh, they just don't want to give away free feet pics.
oh, yeah, true that. Only feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably another app.
Only toes.
Only toes. Yeah, dude. Dude at work was like putting my stilts on or something. He's like, man, you got like pointy feet. And
What the fuck?
and I was like, you know what they say about pointy feet, right? I was like, well, truth is, my foot is just one big toe, like
Right.
like one giant toenail. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
And you got pointy feet,
we got pointy feet. I'm like, what?
dude.
Yeah, feet are weird, dude. Sometimes, especially when I'd be on psychedelics, I'd like look at my hands, be like, whoa, what the fuck?
I do that like when I'm sober.
Dude, it's so weird to just like look at your hands or look at your toes and you're like, dude, this is crazy. Like, what the fuck? I don't know why it's so weird, but it's just, it almost seems like alien sometimes. I don't know why.
Dude, yeah.
But
It's weird when like I don't know, man. When you see people that have like weird hands.
yeah, they have like somebody once told me like, oh, you have ET fingers. Because my fingers will be like,
Well, that's what I mean. Not like deformities, but like just how everyone's hands are shaped different, you know?
yeah, like I'll have like long, skinny fingers, and some people have like short, stubby fingers.
Yeah. Like my hands are pretty small, actually. I mean, not like small, but like my brother's hands are fucking huge compared to mine, and we're about the same height, you know?
True that, dude. Like, it is pretty crazy. Buckethead.
Yeah.
Fucking, I'd see some videos of him. I'm like, dude, how the hell do you stretch your fingers so far?
I know.
But we were talking about doing a top 10 guitarists or top 10 favorite guitarists.
Yeah.
Did you put a list together at all?
No, but I could throw one together. It wouldn't really be top 10, but it would be a list of
10 of
10.
your favorites.
Yeah.
What do you want to just go off the top of your mind?
Sure. I mean,
Want to just go one by one with each other or something?
yeah. So I'm guessing we're probably gonna have some that are the same.
Probably.
And sounded like you were about to bring up Buckethead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put Buckethead as my first one because yeah, he's got crazy fucking fingers, man. And yeah, I got into him super, super heavy. I can't even remember how I found out about him.
Guns N' Roses was how I did.
I think I found out about him through Josh because he was always listening. Oh, it was because Josh listened to Primus. And wasn't he? Didn't he do something with Primus?
Probably. They're eclectic musicians. So.
Maybe he was just like into both of them at the same time or something. But
Mr.
yeah, dude, I got
Bungle.
Mr. Bungle. Yeah, Mr. Bungle. Fucking. But yeah, dude, he's amazing. He's definitely top 10 for
I
sure.
was thinking about putting him on my list.
Oh, you didn't put him on there?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I mean, I never really have listened to him enough. I think he's definitely like amazing. For
right,
some reason, he was just not one I like listened to a lot.
for sure.
I should though, because that album Colma, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Dude, that I was listening to that and it felt like that was like the first time I ever felt like I actually meditated or something.
Hmm.
Was listening to that, and I
Right.
do want to listen to it again. I mean, he is definitely up there. He's definitely in the
sure.
top greatest guitar players.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this dude is. I like him more than like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, John Petrucci, Yngwie
You,
Malmsteen. I'm like
you still kind of put him in that class of like nerdy
virtuoso.
guitarist. Yeah.
He's definitely a virtuoso or something, but he's like so creative.
Right.
Like he'll
For
do
sure.
things that I'm like, whoa, how did you
Hmm.
think of that?
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of my guys are probably more like standard. I
Yeah.
wasn't even sure about putting Eddie Van Halen on there, but I did. He's
Well,
kind of like my number 10. Yeah.
what's your first one you want to go with? You start at 10?
Yeah, that's where and then I'll go make my way up. I guess some of my first like honorable mention. Of course, I'm a Robert Johnson, but he's not one of my like favorites that I've listened to a lot. But I do love that old blues. But really, Angus Young from AC/DC is kind of who I started playing guitar because of Angus Young.
Okay.
He's a simple guitar player, though. I would feel like, like they kind of stick to a classic blues and just rock, easy chords.
Yep.
But I think that's just when I was a kid, that was what got me into music right away. But he's not even on my top 10. But I put Eddie Van Halen on there just because he's like such an innovator. But he's kind of a pop guitar player, I would say.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really ever super into like a lot of his riffs.
Yeah.
But number 10.
I mean, yeah, I'm just going off the top. So mine's not in any particular order. But let's see. I'll go with, even though he's a bass player, I'll go with Paul McCartney.
Oh.
Just because like the harmony, in his writing was like yesterday, just like the chords in there. I just love those chords that are like really unique, really like melodic, but they're not like just your standard chords,
Dude, yeah. Dude, the melodies they could write and their chord choices and like the notes they would choose.
Yep.
They were some of the best at that. And like the changes of like minor to major or vice versa, I definitely think Paul McCartney's cool. And he's still rocking, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Next I was putting John Frusciante of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
For sure.
I just like his kind of Jimi Hendrixy style, but he can like rock and he can play like not standard like pop guitar, but it's kind of funky. I don't know. That's cool.
Or alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I always think about how he was like, because he grew up listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh yeah, dude.
and then he ends up in the band. Like that's like the ultimate dream come true, you know, like because you'll always think about that for the rest of your life. Like, man, I was just a kid in my room listening to these guys and watching them on TV and shit.
Yeah, and he, of course, they say he was like, "You were my favorite band," and you end up in your favorite band.
That was the same with what's the bass player for Metallica?
Oh, Robert Trujillo.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize.
I mean, yeah, it had to have been, right? Because it was Jason Newsted for probably his whole like childhood, and
yeah, dude.
I'm not exactly sure the time frame, but
I
for sure he was.
Watched that. The auditions to get into Metallica, the bass player auditions in Some Kind of Monster.
Right.
You ever see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. I love Robert Trujillo.
He's dope.
Plays with his fingers.
Yep.
I like that.
Man, I should have prepared something. I'll go with. Man, I'm surprised we haven't had any crossover yet. I'll say I know a few that we're probably going to share, but they're probably up there on your list.
I mean, you can still say them.
No, I know, but okay, I'll just go with Jimmy then, because that's what I was thinking.
Jimi Hendrix is my number one. Wait, Jimmy For Page or Jimi Hendrix?
No, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, he's definitely my number one.
Yeah, he was. I might put him at number one too if I was doing it in order.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, I don't know, man. When I pick up a guitar and I play the guitar, for me, there's still so much like, kind of, like I'm not that great at the guitar where it's like effortless, you know. I'm still kind of like learning and trying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But man, just like what he did with the guitar, like it was beyond the instrument itself. Like he was like fucking singing through that thing, you know.
Right, yeah.
And it was effortless at that point because like he mastered it, you know, and it just you totally dominate the instrument and you can do anything and everything, you know, and it's like there's not a lot of people that can do that.
Yeah, kind of one with the instrument. And what, you know, it took me some time to actually like for Jimi Hendrix to grow on me. You know, because of course I heard like Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, Voodoo Child, and it's like, dude, these songs are fucking rocking. But then once I started listening to his records more, now more the deep cuts, and I was like, whoa, dude, this is like weird. And it was really hard to understand. It's still hard for me to understand and learn his guitar playing, but there's just something about his like techniques and the weird chords he would use. Like in the beginning of Castles Made of Sand, there's like these weird chords, but like Little Wing, I'm like, dude, I love Little Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, Jimi Hendrix was definitely my number one, especially because for me, whenever I play the guitar, you know, I like try to who I draw inspiration from. And I once read something that they'd say Jimi Hendrix could like draw inspiration from anything. And so Jimi Hendrix's spirit is the one I like try to tap into and stay connected with and be like, if there's any spirit of music I want to flow through me, it's Jimi Hendrix,
Hmm.
or just one of my favorites.
For sure. Fuck yeah, dude.
But yeah, so he was my number one. But okay, speaking of Hendrix, the next on my list was Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Hmm.
who is like reminds me of Hendrix.
Right.
And I think the reason I love Stevie Ray Vaughan is because he's just the blue. He like mastered the blues or something, I would say.
Yeah.
And he reminded me of Hendrix. He'd do all the like tricks, play behind his head with his teeth, behind the back. But you can just hear it like when he's like, he'll hit a note. And it's like anybody can hit that note. But somehow when he hits it, whatever the vibe and energy he's putting in it, you're like, whoa, dude, that sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan just hit that note.
For sure.
And sure, everybody's got their own tone, but I don't know, dude. Plus, he got sober, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
So he was my number 8.
Number 8. Let's see. I'll throw Jack White in there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't put him on my list. I didn't even think of Jack White for some reason.
Yeah, he just popped in my head. Yeah, man, like he's insane.
I love Jack White, actually. He's so creative.
Right. I honestly it's kind of one of those, like you were just saying, like, you'd like to get into them more, but you just never have.
Mm-hmm. I need
Um,
to, yeah.
But I just, I've seen stuff like it. I've seen in the studio stuff with him. And obviously I've heard some of his music,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I think it's not just the guitar playing, I think for some people it might be, but for me, it's like it's the person and like the impact they have just
Mm-hmm.
on everybody, and just to even be able to come up with a song that's like one of those songs that everybody learns when they play the guitar.
Oh, yeah. Seven Nation Army.
Right. There's like 3 songs, and it's like that's one of them.
Yeah, it is. I think I was trying to teach my dad that once, and he was like kind of learning it,
Right.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, Jack White's awesome, man.
Mhm.
And I like how he'll use those like octave pedals and stuff that kind of makes your guitar sound like deeper, bassier, fuzzier,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But that kind of made me think of well, I guess next on my list was Tom Morello.
Mhm.
And just because I'm like another guy that's just so creative with the guitar. I heard that he said that he would try to play his guitar like a hip hop producer.
Right.
So just that creativity of being like, I'm going to use my guitar differently.
Hmm.
I'm going to get these weird sounds that nobody else is playing it like this.
For sure.
So I think that's what I've always loved about Tom Morello.
That's dope. Yeah, like when you were saying, I can't remember who you were talking about, but they were saying that like guitar and trap beats doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
mix. And even now, like people say guitar beats, they kind of think of like Lil Peep type beats, or Juice WRLD type shit.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, there's a million rap songs that have guitar in it, but it's like you don't really think about it because it's not really like the way a guitar would be used in like a rock song or whatever.
Sometimes I would, if I was producing a hip hop beat, a trap beat, especially, I wouldn't really even be playing chords. It would be like, I'm going to hit one note or maybe a harmonic and
Hmm.
you give it some bend or just the whammy bar, like
Right. Hmm.
because I'm like, yo, this is like you can make that same sound through like a keyboard or a synth.
Yeah,
A lot of hip hop producers would do. I'm like, I'll just make it through a guitar, you know.
for sure.
So
Yep.
it sounds better sometimes to me. I just like that psychedelic sound though, where it's like you give it a little bit of flanger, some reverb, a little tiny bit of like delay,
Yep.
and it just sounds like spacey.
Hmm.
Um, but like you say with Juice World and Lil Peep, where they would come up with those really good, like kind of like emo arpeggiations or something like that.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot, or just like a really cool little strumming pattern.
Right. Yep.
I don't even know who those guitar players really were. Maybe just a producer or something.
Dude, I was reading this thread. It was about Lil Peep
Mm-hmm.
and just it was about the Crybaby EP and just like the whole history on it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what song it was. I think it might have been Crybaby or Absolute in Doubt, but one of the producers, or the producer on one of those songs, that was like his first beat that he ever made.
Oh, nice.
And it became fucking one of his like bigger songs, you know.
Like Big Head? Or
No,
somebody else?
it was it was someone a little, I can't remember. It was like Laderick
Mm.
or somebody. Charlie Shuffler. No, I don't know.
I know that those guitar riffs are super fun to make. I love making those.
Dude, yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying is like you don't even really realize there's guitar in a lot of songs because it'll just be something so like simple. Um and that's what's fun about producing that type of shit too, is like it doesn't really need a lot, you know, like you could literally just play like two or three notes,
Mm-hmm.
just a little melody kind of just repeating in the background, and it's like sounds hella dope because it's guitar, you know, like, and just for those types of beats you don't really need to like compose a fucking masterpiece, you know, you just like
Yeah,
throw some guitar in there and it sounds sick.
dude, true that. Um, well, yeah, I was saying Tom Morello. Did you have anybody else you would say?
um
Before I say another one.
so let's see, that would be what, seven.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I definitely should have thought about something before. Um, how about you just go with your seven, and I'll think about it while you're talking.
Well, my next is the sixth one, and well, I kind of put two and one, but Kirk Hammett first, and then I
Yeah,
put like James Hetfield right next to him because I'm like, well, they kind of go hand in hand.
I'll actually put Kirk as my seven because yeah, I don't know how I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and I mean Kirk Hammett, I guess, because I'm just like, dude, he was probably one of the guitar players I would study his solos,
Hmm.
and they were they were tough, but they were orchestrated well, and it was like, well, if you can just learn like each little part, and
Right.
then I feel like they all kind of followed the blues scale mostly.
Hmm.
um but yeah, he would do kind of a mix between the blues and like orchestration.
Right.
And I think that's really what I love. But yeah, Hetfield, dude, I don't know. I'm sure that Kirk was writing a lot of their other riffs, their rhythm riffs too.
Hmm.
But Hetfield's rhythm riffs, I'm like, dude, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude. Kirk Hammett solos always been insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some of that shit similar to Slash, where it's like it's not just a part of the song. It's almost like you could sing a lot of those solos, like
Yeah,
because
dude.
they're so catchy and they're just like they're perfect,
Dude, and the way he plays the wah with them
Yeah.
sometimes, it's like really, he's like pinpoint with it. He's like, no, I know how I want it to sound at the right moment. Have you heard Kirk Hammett's solo album at all?
No.
Did you know he has one?
No.
It's just a 4-song instrumental album. It just came out like a month or something ago.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, dude. Super dope. I was actually surprised that Metallica was like, yeah, go ahead and make a solo album.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure that's why they fired Jason Newsted.
Hmm.
Did you hear
I
that?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Newsted had, some other like side project going on. And I don't think Hetfield liked that. And he's like, well, you're in Metallica,
Right.
the biggest rock band in the world. And,
Mm-hmm.
and just, I don't think Newsted liked that. And he was just like, well, if I can't just make a record in my home studio with some other guys and you have a problem with it, then whatever, man.
Right.
So I think he left. I don't think he was actually like fired.
Hmm.
But I think that's but I love Metallica.
Dude, yeah.
What do you think of Megadeth? I've been watching Megadeth documentary.
Megadeth is dope.
I do love Dave Mustaine. Some people hate him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it.
Dude, to me they're like Metallica cranked up another notch because I'm like, he was in Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
And he hired he hired some other really great guitar players too. Like Marty Friedman was like another virtuoso, but yeah, Dave Mustaine, he's got that weird voice that people can't look past that voice.
Right.
I mean, next up, I put Dimebag Darrell.
He popped in my head while we were talking. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Oh yeah, you had a Dimebag guitar, huh?
It was, yeah. I don't know if it was a Dimebag one, but it was a Dean.
Did it have that shape?
It was was it? Yeah, it was like the X kind of looking one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That he's like the only one I can even think of that played that guitar. I'm sure other guys did, but
Yeah, I usually don't like those crazy shaped guitars, like those BC Rich, like the Warlocks or whatever.
yeah.
I don't really like those, but yeah, the Dimebag ones are pretty cool. It's comfortable to play because it's like the flying V, so you could set the V on your leg like that,
Uh-huh.
but you could also set it flat because it has the X part.
Yeah, I've never really played Dean, but I would. I would like to have like a Dimebag guitar just because I'm like fucking Dimebag. Dude, his squeals, he would do this little harmonic thing, like at the end of Cemetery Gates, you hear that wow.
Yeah.
And you probably already know this, but he would do this technique where he kind of like pluck the string with his pinky. And then with his index finger, he'd have it like hit the harmonic with that.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't really mastered that, but oh man.
Yeah. Pitch harmonic, I think. Pinch harmonic.
Yeah, and I'll hit the pinch harmonics sometimes with my
With your pick.
with my pick hand.
Mm-hmm.
But that little trick he does, I need to practice it. And
I didn't
I'm
know
like,
you did it like that.
yeah, so like pluck the string so that it like you pluck it to like an open or something.
Right.
But then you would have like your other finger already resting on like
That makes sense.
the 7th fret or 12th fret, or I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like the only one I could ever hear get those like insane squeals.
Right.
Dude, I gotta show you this one guitar. I can't even. You've probably seen it. Dave Mustaine would play this weird. I think it might have been a BC Rich. Okay. Yeah. All right, check this thing out. What is this thing called? Maybe. All right. I still don't really understand what it is. All right. Have you ever seen this guitar? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. I think I might have.
I don't even understand it. Like you'll see Dave Mustaine playing it. But yeah, dude. See, it's got these weird
What the hell?
things right here. And I'm like, what's
Why?
that for?
No idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. But one day I'd like to try it out. Would be cool. Yeah, like that guitar, pretty cool, but it's not really like. I don't like to really rock all the weird shapes. I'm
Right.
not even into that really. Like, it's not my style.
That's what I was talking about. I think that's the Warlock.
Yeah, Warlock. Like that's even
Yeah.
stranger.
It's too cool.
Too cool, man. Too gnarly. It's like I just don't play that style of music that would sound good through it. But Flying V's, I like the V's.
Mm-hmm. Flying V's dope.
Yeah. And I do still have that Jackson King V, Kerry King V.
Right.
I want to get some new pickups for it, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So my turn.
Yep.
I'll go with Bradley Nowell.
Oh,
Sublime.
nice. I don't
Yeah.
know why I didn't think of him.
I'm kind of glad I didn't put something together because I probably wouldn't have thought of some of these people. Yeah, dude, just that he was crazy, man. Just the punk energy, you know, and that whole ska and even the softer shit, you know.
Oh, like yeah. He would kind of have that reggae and like acoustic stuff. I really liked his acoustic.
Yeah, dude, and just like seeing them live too, like like videos of it, you know. They're just so comfortable on stage. I mean, they're probably fucked up, but like
Right.
they're still playing everything just like awesome, you know. And yeah, everybody fucking
solo too.
Yeah, I was thinking of him too when I was talking about like solos that you can sing along with. Like it's some of those solos. I mean, they might not be him. I'm not sure because like
they are because
I mean some of them are, but there's another good guitar player, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was just like a 3-piece.
You're right.
But then they got Rome nowadays.
Yeah,
Rome.
Right. Yeah, dude, it's just another one of those like, you know, like you write classic songs. And yeah, dude, I fuck with it. I think
I love Sublime.
everybody's got that album in high school, you know, and at parties and shit. Like even to this day, like
The one with
people are
the
still
tattoo
jamming
on
that
the
shit.
back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows that shit. So
Oh, for sure. Dude, I was just watching a thing on Sublime's website about the album art for 40 Ounce to Freedom, the sun, and just how it came together and how that thing became like almost like a cultural phenomenon, that sun.
right.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, Bradley Nowell, good choice, man. I wish that he was still alive.
For sure.
He was definitely one of my faves. Yeah, of course, next on my list, next to Dimebag, I put Zakk Wylde.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course, his like electric guitars are crazy, awesome. And his pinch harmonics. But I'm actually a huge fan of his like acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
Like his ballads, and he can play like the piano really good.
Mm-hmm. Fucking
And
A, dude.
I literally listen to Zakk Wylde like pretty much every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Of course, his stuff with Ozzy, but I'm a big fan of Black Label Society.
Right.
And have you heard his Book of Shadows material?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, love it. You know?
Fucking A.
And his voice, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. He's great.
Once he became a Viking, bro. Do you remember him back when he was like, didn't even have a beard,
Yeah.
didn't dress like a biker, and then all of a sudden one day it's like, whoa, dude, this dude just turned into a barbarian.
Right. Oh yeah. Zakk Wylde, that's a good one, man. What number was that for you?
Number 4.
4. Fucking how about Jesus Christ?
He could shred, man.
Yeah, dude.
He didn't even have to touch the guitar.
Uh-huh. How about fucking what's his name? Guitar player for Fat Mike from NoFX.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
Was he the bass player?
Oh, that's right.
But he is an
Man.
awesome bass. I mean, it's a guitar.
He would play guitar too. Yeah. I did think of that, but I mean, I guess I put Paul McCartney. It is a bass guitar.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. Yeah, that was kind of just a brain fart. I can't remember the guitar player's name, but I did meet the guitar player from NoFX. Just because those songs are like, I mean, it's punk shit, you know, but
I love punk riffs.
it's really good songwriting though, you know, like that's the thing about genres is like you could take a song and just the bass music, you know, like you could put different instruments on it or like make it a different tempo, have a different singer on it, you know, like turn it into a different genre. Same song, you know, so like the songwriting underneath. A lot of people don't think about that, like even with pop shit, you know, like yeah, it's kind of like manufactured and shit, but someone had to create that and write it, you know, and like
It just starts out as a piece of paper a lot of times, you know.
Yeah, dude, and like just I don't know. the songwriting, like no effects, they put out like fucking 30 albums or something, so of course they're gonna be
that.
I mean, it's not that many, but it is a lot, dude. It's like maybe 20.
Well, I was watching Fat Mike, like favorite riffs. He was like playing some of his favorite riffs, probably ones I think that they wrote as well, that he wrote. And I was like, dude, these riffs are crazy.
Dude, they're all so good at their instruments. Yeah.
And a lot of people might think like punk rock, like, punk is so easy. It's like,
right.
And I'm like, dude, you got to be more creative than that. You don't just go like,
right,
5th fret, 3rd fret, 7th fret, down picks,
Right.
It's like, dude, you got to be creative. And I remember even approaching some other band I play with that were into rock and like metal type stuff and punk, and I'd approach them with some riffs, and they didn't really understand them or something. They were just different than what they're used to,
right,
and I think that's kind of the whole point of it too. Is like you gotta sometimes make up a riff that, for me, it was like you're trying to confuse that other guitar player, so you make it harder for them to figure out what you're playing.
Right.
Because then they can't steal your riff. And, I guess Keith Richards was, I didn't even put him on my list, but he was one of those guys, he would play in different tunings, but not just play with a slide. He would play with his fingers.
Yeah.
And one of his reasons he said he did that was so that people couldn't figure out how to play their songs.
Yeah.
But I do love Keith Richards. He's definitely one of my top favorites.
Right.
But actually, my next one was Randy Rhodes.
I could have wrote your list for you.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And I think the reason I really loved Randy Rhodes was just because, like, dude, he was like a classical guitar player that, like, played rock. And his solos are like, Zakk Wilde said that about Randy Rhodes, where he's like, he had like solos within his solos.
Right.
Like his solo would be like 8 different orchestrations within that one thing.
Yep.
And even like when I'd learn his riffs, like even like Crazy Train. Let me think here. It'd be like, and then he'd be like throw in a lead lick right after his rhythm.
Yep.
Like he did that like every measure. Like he would do his 3 measures or whatever, and then the last one would be like some crazy lead guitar thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just
insane.
A mind blower. Another one that I wish, he was gone too soon for sure. And you got anybody else, or do you know my next one?
I probably do. What number are you on?
Well, it would be my second one. You already knew my first one.
Okay. So, I have a pretty good guess, but I'll go with mine. And I'm gonna have to think of it real quick. Fucking what's his name? From Pink Floyd.
Oh, David Gilmour?
Yeah, thank you.
And then Roger Waters was like the bass.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of like just knowing who a guitar player is from their bends, She had like that signature bend, or just like the sound, just when an artist can like find a sound and you just know who it is right away. Like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with, because we were talking about what's that band that sounds like Led Zeppelin?
Oh yeah, Greta Van Fleet.
Right. yeah, like I don't think there's anything really wrong with like being one of those musicians that is like in a pool of other musicians that all make similar stuff.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like that's gonna happen with music.
Oh, especially if you're like, well, I used to listen to a lot of Led Zeppelin. And it's like, well, then you're gonna sound like them, you
I
know,
mean, you don't have
naturally.
to though. Like
Well,
it's
maybe not.
just
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's like you do decide. You're making decisions on what it's gonna sound like. So
Do.
you do.
I always say that. Yeah, dude, that's true. Uh,
But what I was
and
saying though is like there's nothing wrong with that, but there are those artists that they do stand out and they are the ones who like influence people.
dude, David Gilmour's bends. I'm like, he wouldn't just do like one bend in his bend. It'd be like two bends and one like wee, and it'd be like
Hmm.
way longer than like everybody else's standard bend.
Right.
And so on that new pedal I got, I haven't even got to use it yet. I'm gonna use it today. Um, but there was a setting on the wah pedal called Frozen or Freeze,
Hmm.
and I guess it's kind of the effect that would be used on kind of like Comfortably Numb and Shine On You Crazy Diamond. I guess to give it like this weird like spacier sound. I don't know. I have never tried it.
Crazy.
But yo, since you were mentioning Led Zeppelin, I actually didn't put Jimmy Page on the list.
Oh, I was gonna guess your number two.
You were thinking Jimmy Page?
No,
Oh,
because
but yeah,
you didn't put that right.
no, I didn't put him because he's an honorable mention.
Hmm.
And I do love Jimmy Page's guitar playing. Definitely a legend. I just when I seen the list of like how many songs and riffs were kind of like taken from other blues
All right.
stuff, I was like, I understand with music how it's like, yo, this was inspired by this, but sometimes I was like, yo, this is like not just inspired, but this is like basically the same riff.
Hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
that was kind of I was pretty bummed out when I heard that because I was like, damn, dude, you kind of became a guitar legend by like snagging all these songs from like or all these riffs that you made really memorable and like the other people like didn't make them memorable.
Right.
But I guess at least he did his thing and made it like epic.
Yeah.
Now, who are you gonna guess?
Oh, I was gonna guess Slash
Yeah, faux show.
for sure.
Um,
Knew it. And yeah.
why did you? How did you know?
Well, because you hadn't said him yet, and
Mm.
um, you told me it wasn't Jimmy Page, and you told me Jimi Hendrix was your number one. Who else could it fucking be?
Yeah, true that. Yeah, I think the reason I always loved Slash, besides his character, where it was just like, wow, he's like, kind of seemed like the epitome of a rock star guitar player.
Hmm.
But his riffs to me were like, I don't know, they were like a classic kind of rock blues thing, kind of like Aerosmith, but more edgy.
Right.
And his guitar solos were like, I don't know, not just bluesy, but they had like this kind of like Spanish influence to them or something.
Right.
And I don't know, I just love, I feel like he's like a riff machine. And somehow he can keep making these like riffs that you can like tell it's his style, but they're different riffs, you know?
Yeah.
Or like I was saying before, it'd be like, okay, this song is like D, C, G. But
Yep.
for some reason, he could like turn that D into like a cool little thing in itself. and each
Yeah.
like chord became its own little piece of music. So
Right.
yeah, and since he got sober, I was like, damn, dude, he's definitely been an inspiration to me to
Mhm.
get sober too. I was like, fuck.
Right. How-
You got
So,
anybody else for your
well, I guess
top
it'd
2
be
or 1?
it'd be one, I think. Um, yeah, and this isn't my number one. Um, hmm. How about motherfucking Daniel Johnston?
Oh my god, dude, I love Daniel Johnston. I was
Dude,
watching his. I actually bought his documentary.
yeah, I remember watching one way back in the day. And
I think
yeah, I
we
mean,
watched it together.
probably.
The Devil and Daniel Johnston.
Right. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. It's just kind of like what I was saying, like the music underneath, like
Mhm.
because a lot of those songs have become covered by like other more popular artists,
Mhm.
and then that's like how he became popular in the first place, like
Right.
but the music underneath, like person writing those things, that's I don't know, man. That's what like when I make music and like when I listen to my own stuff or like other people who are making music that are like kind of releasing stuff as they are learning the process and all that, um I really do listen to like the idea of the song and like kind of like what they're going for,
Mhm.
might not be like the best execution, but like just looking for like the potential in the song and like because a lot of people put a lot into their music, and some people don't really put that much into their music, and it's whatever, but like I think you could hear that more when you just put more of yourself into it, and whether it's like the best song or not, you know.
The songwriting, like the words too.
Yeah,
Like I
all of it.
feel like cuz I feel like a lot of Daniel Johnston's songs would like be basically like the same, almost like chords. Like he probably just most of the time went with, your basic chords like D, C, G, A,
Right.
and then he probably repeated his same chords in other songs, maybe not, but I think he got so creative with those few chords.
Yep.
It's like, well, this one's in a different arrangement,
Yep.
and uh his songs were so like he had a song called Walking the Cow and like another one Running Water.
Right.
And I just like how like who writes a song called Walking the Cow? And it's like, yeah, it's about like your burdens
Right.
and you know. But yeah, my one of the gifts Kayliana got me for my Father's Day gift was cassette tapes.
Oh, dope.
And basically I've been wanting to record on this cassette player. I don't know why I've been putting it off because of Daniel Johnston.
Hmm.
Like where I'm like, it sounds so silly and probably crazy, but he's probably one of my biggest inspirations. Like a part of me is just like, I want to be like Daniel Johnston.
Yeah.
Not as far as a crazy person, but I felt like I could relate to him so much. Even when he would say things like where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be famous because I made a deal with the devil.
Mhm.
And that's something I would wrestle with forever. Where I was like, and I still have those thoughts where it's like, I feel like I made a deal with the devil. Like even if it wasn't like physically in person, it's like it's not like I met the devil and shook his hand and like signed a contract,
Right.
but it feels like something almost on like a spiritual level where it's like, and I don't think that even when you say like I made a deal with the devil, maybe maybe it wasn't like a deal to be rich and famous. Maybe it was a deal that's like, hey man, like if you leave me alone or something, I don't know. You know,
Right.
'cause I feel like in life, most people you're gonna have to deal with the devil, or you're gonna have to deal with evil things. You're gonna have to deal with the bad stuff in life.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I look at the deal with the devil. It's like, hey man, I'm dealing with it. Like,
Hmm.
you know, so it
Right.
doesn't really go away.
Hmm.
Um,
For sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, Daniel Johnson was a trip, man. Like, and he lived like a pretty sad life, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, dude, it's
lonely life.
mhm.
Still probably, I don't know. He might still be living at his parents'.
I don't know. Is he still alive?
I'm pretty sure, dude. He's one person I'll be like, yo, Daniel Johnston, can I make a song with you?
Dude, I gotta look it up because I'm not sure. I thought I remember hearing something about him dying. Dude, you know what's a trip?
He came close multiple times, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I remember I get on Reddit one day and uh the Rick Astley song, uh Never Gonna Give You Up, you know, it was on the front page. It was just like the music video for it. Like, I swear to God, I remember this because he died. And it was just, you know, people sharing that because he died. And I was just thinking, like, man, it's crazy that like he was kind of coming back, you know, because you know he had that one song that was like a long ass time ago, and then you know I think he might have just retired, stopped making music or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then this one song just fucking blows the fuck up, and I think he was putting out music, again, you know, I'm kind of having a comeback, and then he died, but I guess he didn't die.
What?
I swear to God, I remember this. Yeah.
So
Like,
he's still alive?
yeah.
Mandela effect.
Dude, for real, like hardcore.
Dude, that quantum immortality.
Yeah, dude, like I'm trying to think of like if it could have been someone else. I don't know who it would have been.
Where they're like, I
Like,
swear he was dead.
because like David Bowie, he died a while ago. You know, that was like it was a few years ago he died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did you find anything about Daniel Johnston? Is he alive still?
So yeah, he died in 2019.
He did?
Yeah.
Well, geez. Rest in peace, Daniel Johnston. How did I not know that?
Dude.
Guess I could just cover one of his songs. Oh, one of my favorite songs that I have done a version of is Devil Town.
Right.
I was living in a devil town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all my friends were vampires.
Right.
Didn't know they were vampires. Turns out I was a vampire myself in the devil town.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love how his artwork too was like, it's just like simple drawings,
Mm-hmm.
and you know people will just buy that artwork. It's like,
yeah, for sure. Hell yeah. So I guess we already know your number one.
Jimi Hendrix. Who you got number one? Who's your number one?
I already said it. Daniel Johnson. Because I went first. I started.
This is not my number one.
Well, it's not like in order, so it's not my number one favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one to put up top, bro, because
mm-hmm.
You know, I remember when I seen Kurt Cobain, I could have put Kurt Cobain on there.
I thought of it too, yeah.
And he was never my favorite guitar player as like, oh, he's like so incredible with his fingers and blah blah blah. But I would put him on there because he's like my ghost favorite, where it's like, yeah, I can't really put him on the list, but he's the asterisk over there at the side in parentheses, because I feel like he awesome, good job, son. I feel like he what are you gonna show, your clay creation? Nice.
I just made this.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
This-
little
This
Luigi
is my
world.
favorite. This is my favorite. Do you know my favorite?
What is that? Cuphead world?
This is Cuphead, Among Us, PvZ, Smash, and then Mario.
Well, great job with your creation, son. Kirk Cobain was a really cool artist too, but I think that's what I liked about his guitar riffs was that he was going for like the opposite of what everybody else was doing, where he's like, I want to make like music that, in a way, he went this route of like, I'm gonna make it sound bad,
Mm-hmm.
and that made it sound good.
Right.
And I think that's what I loved it. Like I remember he would say things like, well, if people usually play on these notes and they move forward, well, I'm gonna play like in between them and move backwards.
Right.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Honorable mention for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude. I mean,
James
list
the Fountain is also one of my favorite guitar players.
I was gonna do the same thing earlier.
I hate it when the guys are like, who's the top 3 greatest guitar players? And they're like, well, me, obviously. Like,
Right.
dude, you're not supposed to put yourself on that fucking list.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably keep thinking about it and just be like, oh, I should have said him or something.
Well, let's do another one here soon that like we could do bass players, drummers,
Yeah, dude.
vocalists.
I mean, I think we should just kind of just start coming up with ideas and just do whatever, like not really think about it too much, but just if you got an idea for a segment,
What are your favorite vegetables?
Yeah. Yep.
What vegetable, like the weirdest fruit on the planet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fruit review.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, there's some like
Today we're
dragon
reviewing-
fruit.
Yeah.
It looks so weird.
Or the one that's the durian fruit.
What?
Yeah, it's like crazy looking. Look that shit up. Pull it up.
How do you even spell it?
Durian. It's from Zelda.
Is it?
It's a real fruit. Supposedly it's like
Is it in Zelda though?
it is, yeah. But it stinks like crazy bad.
I was just thinking that looks like a butt.
Yeah, and it's like fleshy. Look at this. The meat on the inside is like a weird kind of like fleshy.
Whoa.
And it stinks, but it's really good. It's like a savory sweet.
Dude, that is crazy. Yeah, I remember I would like watch some
Weird fruit.
videos. Yeah. Of like is that even real?
Oh, fuck.
What the hell? That's one giant.
Order one. Order 10.
Yeah. Dude, that would be cool to order some of these one day. I think, I've heard of them like hybriding fruit.
Yeah.
Dude.
Tiny watermelons. Look at that shit.
Whoa, dude.
What the?
That's a lemon kiwi or something?
They're like little cucumber grapes.
Whoa,
Fuck yeah.
man. Oh, yeah, I see him right here. I was distracted by this strawberry face. It's got tiny little eyes.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
dope.
God. That's gonna haunt me. I'm gonna have nightmares about that, bro. Dude, I had such a bad nightmare the other night.
Yeah. Bro,
What?
can we pause real quick?
Yeah.
These energy drinks, man.
All right. So I was saying I had a nightmare the other night.
Right.
And dude, this kind of messed up, but so it was the night before I went to AA meeting. And I had this nightmare that I was like trying to dispose of some dead bodies.
Mhm.
And I had them like stuffed in like some duffel bags and like suitcases and stuff.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, how am I going to get rid of these dead bodies? Like, I was trying to like hide them from my neighbors in the neighborhood because, you know, they were like coming around and be like, oh, what's going on here? I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
And then in my dream, I eventually remembered, like, I was like, oh, wait, this is just a dream. Like, I remember driving around in a truck and like trying to stash them in like garages and being like, what am I going to do with these? Am I have to throw them in the river, burn them? Can I put them in like some acid and just dissolve them? Because I have to make these like disappear, untraceable. And I didn't know like who they were or nothing. But yeah, eventually I was like, wait, this is just a dream. You can just like wake up now.
Right.
And when I looked it up, it was saying something like about like your like trying to resolve your past mistakes or something. So I just took it as that, where I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to get rid of the old me, kill that person off. If I'm going to AA and like, because for me, you know, getting off the booze is like a total flip side for me. It's actually something I didn't know if I'd ever do.
Right.
But yeah, that was my nightmare.
Yeah, I think stuff like that can even come from like just general fear of like losing your security, or you know, I'll have dreams like that where like just like you accidentally kill somebody in a car or something like that and you end up in prison and you're like, fuck, my whole life is fucked. Like,
Right.
for sure have those dreams. I don't know, man. Like I think it's impossible to just figure out what a dream means. Like,
Right.
you know, like there's people, nobody knows what dreaming even is. Like,
Yeah, it's weird how it feels like in your mind, you know, and you're like, well, I wasn't even thinking of, like, I can understand sometimes when I'm like, I've been thinking about this a lot and then I had a dream about it.
Mhm.
But if it's like, dude, I don't ever think of that. What the hell was that? You know?
Dude, okay. So I feel like I just have some ideas for like some segments.
Uh-huh.
We should do a dream one.
Mm-hmm.
Call it dream journals or something.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Um, yeah, because like I have some weird fucking dreams, dude, and just like even like past dreams, you know.
I have some that I've wrote down and some that I'll never forget.
Like, you know, people really don't care to hear about your dreams for the most part. But
I'd
if
love
it
to
was
hear
like,
other people's dreams, you know.
no, if it was like a set, like this is the time we talk about our dreams, you know, so like that'd be cool.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So yeah, the dream one. I was thinking maybe since I'm just trying to think of like the most boring shit. The next one was like, since both of us are like, I mean, your credit was already like you're already working on it, but I'm working on my credit now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like a credit corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't really know too much, but even just a couple of things I know when I talk to people, like most people do not know just the like little tricks and shit, you know. Because my credit has gone up just like a fucking 100 points or something.
That's
So
bomb diggity.
it's a cool feeling, man. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to keep going up. Come on, you know. So
It's like a game. Yeah, it's like a video game type of thing, but it's also based upon like your choices you make, and I feel like it's like if you can just hold back from like buying something a lot of
yeah.
times where you're like, do I really need this? Or because it is kind of like sometimes I treat them like a bank account,
Mhm.
basically, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like I'm like, well, yeah, sure, I could have this money in the bank, which I'll save money in my bank account, my savings
Yep.
account, and like keep that going up. But then I'm like, well, over on my credit card, if I just put, this on it, I'll pay more on than a lot of times I'll pay like double what
Right.
I need to pay because it's like, well, um, it's still there. If I really
Mhm.
needed the money, I could still use it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know about credit utilization?
Like what?
So it's one of the things that they look at when they're reporting to the credit bureaus and
Mm-hmm.
like the credit card companies. They look at your credit utilization, which is like the percentage of your limit that you use, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have $1,000 limit and you only spend $100 a month compared to someone who maxes it out every month, like
Oh, right.
it's one of the things they look at. But I was reading that the percentage that you want to keep it at is like if you're like just using the credit card to try to build credit,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 5%. I think it's 5% where like the next bracket of whatever scoring applies, So if you stay under 5%, then you basically get like the most benefit as far as
Dang.
credit utilization
I
goes.
didn't realize that. Like, I remember people would try to tell me, like, keep it at like 50%. But then I was like, well, I'm going to go for like 30%, where it's like, um, like if you had like $1,000 available or something, it's like, yo, I have like 800 available
Mhm.
usually or something like that.
Right.
But I didn't ever think of the 5%. So you're saying like if you had 1,000 available,
Mhm.
you'd be using like
50
50
bucks.
bucks.
Yeah. So I got my first actual credit card
Mm-hmm.
and it's a $200 limit. And
Mm-hmm.
basically that's what I'm using it for. Like, um, I just want to use it for that 5% credit utilization.
Like get some gas.
Just whatever, like, I'm just making a point to spend that. I think it's like $9 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just spend that, pay it off on time every month, and not even really look at it. But it is cool too because, you know, just in case, I don't see why I would need it, but it is nice knowing like, oh, there's this extra money here just in case, like,
Yeah.
you know. So that's cool, and the whole credit thing is just, I don't know.
Super
It
important.
it is, man. It's crazy that it was like 1979 they invented credit or something.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like they didn't even have credit until like, yeah, it was in like
Hmm.
1979 or some shit.
Yeah, it is weird how like debt works and how it can help you having like a certain amount of debt and paying on it, where it's like, yeah, like, when a point comes in my life where it'll be like, yo, I got freaking $200,000 loan for a house.
Right.
It's like, well, dang, that's gonna add a lot of debt.
Mhm.
But it's just like when I was getting those tools, where I was like, well, I either take this chunk that's like $4,000 or $5,000 to get all these tools to work and make the money and pay on it, or I don't have the ability to
Yeah.
to do that work. And as long as it's like, then I'm like, okay, I'm paying on these tools. Then it's like, okay, then my account over at the home store, keep that going up, where it's like, okay, now I can go get all these supplies over here at the home store,
Yep.
and hopefully go from, say over at Home Depot I got like a $500 card or something. Yeah, $500.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, use some of this, keep paying until I can up it to 1,000. And then I'm like, hopefully one day I got, $10,000 I can use at the home store on a job.
Right.
So it's like, if I need to go get a few $100 or $1,000 worth of supplies for a job,
Yep.
go get it, pay the bill after the job's done, and I don't know, play the game, basically.
For sure.
Especially because I've really fucked my shit up before.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it makes sense because people always say, like, I mean, I always say at least, like my parents didn't teach me shit about credit.
Me neither.
But it makes sense because if it was only created in fucking, 30 years ago or something, 40 years ago, of course they didn't really know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's my specific case,
I
but
will be teaching my kids for sure.
for sure. And I'm actually like, I do like the idea of like gamifying things,
Mm-hmm.
and that one is
You're a
easy because
gamer.
it's like, I mean, no, I like games. I'm not a gamer like that though. Like, but I love video games. Yeah,
I'm like a conqueror in video games, where I'm like, if I'm gonna play this game, I want to beat. If I get into the game, I'm like, I want to beat the entire game.
right.
Get all the
Hmm.
power ups,
Yeah,
as much as you could, collect all the coins.
right.
And yeah, I mean, in the game of life, if this was a simulation and we were living in the Sims, our credit, in my mind, that's going to determine if we can go get a new truck. If you can get a house, if you, when I think of things like the entertainment business, where I'm like, well, I want to get freaking RV one day and a trailer and sound equipment, lights. I ain't gonna have the money to just buy all that.
Right.
But if I can, you know, take the right steps, get affiliated with the right companies, like that musician's friend, how they offer those types of things. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever looked into that one day, but since your credit's been getting better, it's, you know, something you can always look into for,
Hmm.
um, you know, when you're gonna get back to whatever you need. Or, for me, I was like, well, getting the mixer,
Hmm.
making these slow progressions to build the home studio and live stuff, where I look at it as a business too, where it's like, treat it like a business and keep your personal stuff and your business separate.
Right.
what I try to do. Like if I'm spending my Crossroads construction card from my bank account for Crossroads construction, I'm like, well, that's only for business transactions.
Right.
Even if I'm going to buy lunch during work,
hmm
I'm like, well, I'm eating lunch for work, so I can
Yeah,
get back to work.
for sure.
But
Yep.
if I'm gonna go buy my kids some toys,
Right.
I ain't gonna buy that from my business account. Like,
For sure, dude. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff you could teach me, and well,
I
there's
think you could teach me a lot too.
well, another thing I was gonna say is because I had my first venture into building my credit was the Chime card,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I recommend that to anybody because it's like it's kind of a no brainer. It's kind of a pain in the ass though because enabled or in order to use it to be able to do it, you have to get a direct deposit on your card. So you have to do that through your employer or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
So, but you can do it once. You just have to get one direct deposit on the card, and then you just put money on it, and then you spend that money. But it doesn't really spend your money. It sets that money to the side, and then counts as credit because it's it's a credit transaction.
Oh right.
And then at the end of the month, when your statement comes out, they use all that money that they set aside, your money, to pay it off at the end of the month. So it's like it's credit, but you're only allowed to spend what you kind of.
Oh, it's like a secured credit thing. So it's like, yo,
It's basically yeah.
you put this money into it, so then the money you spend gets paid off by the money you put into it.
So if you have
So can you put more into it all the time?
yeah, you can transfer right from your bank. You can transfer money into it. So, I mean, I think the easiest way to do it, I just have a portion of my check direct deposited into that, which is kind of nice because it shows up 2 days before you normally get paid. So Wednesday or something. So Wednesday, I'll get a portion of my check on that card. And then I just have all my small reoccurring payments being paid with that card.
Nice.
And then if I'm at the store getting a snack or a drink or something, I'll use that card. Any small purchases,
Nice.
So it's just, yeah.
Dude,
it's been helping so far.
The other thing that I found that helps with it won't even go on my credit is those other things like Klarna or Afterpay. There's stuff like that. All these little app programs, or there's like Affirm through Amazon, where it's like, hey, you want to buy this something for $100?
Right.
Well, you can through this program. So, like, say with Klarna, let me see. I have. What they'll do is they'll kind of create like a virtual card for you for like a one-time purchase. And say with Klarna, it says I have $764 of purchase power.
Right.
I'm not going to spend all that at all. And it's not really credit. It's credit with them, sort of. But it'll be like, I'll get like, say I want to get some birthday presents or something, but I don't want to drop $100, $200 just right off the bat. Be like, hey, I'll do it in 4 payments of 25 or 4 payments of $40 or something. And so you just do that right through the app and it doesn't even get reported to the credit bureaus.
Right.
So I think if you don't pay it, then they're going to report it.
Right.
But it's a nice little tool to use on the side.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, this is not affecting my credit, and it's a nice little way to, because it's like, what, you got a $20 payment here or there,
Mhm.
as long as you're working and making money, it's nothing, you know. But say I would use it if I was like I got a bunch of new camera stuff, to build up my uh, video production business.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'll just use it through this thing, because then I can, have these small payments and still build the business, because it's like, well, I'm going to use these tools to make more money. So it's another thing I recommend for you or other people out there. And I think it's good for people that have like bad credit as well.
Um, yeah, that's cool that you mentioned that, because I was gonna say I'm pretty sure, because I think I'm just gonna keep what I have right now and see how that goes, just for, I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
But because I think when you open a new line of credit, it can, your credit score can take a hit from that,
Yeah, for sure.
just from opening a new line. So I did the Chime one, and then I have the Capital One credit card.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm thinking, because I've never gotten a loan before, because I never could, I never had credit before.
Hmm.
So I think probably just do what I've been doing, keep building my credit with these two cards. And then I have like a little bit of medical debt, which I'm pretty sure medical debt doesn't go against your credit score. Like it does show up on your credit report. But I think that's one of those things where it's not bad debt like some other debt, like credit card debt.
Right.
Because you didn't necessarily borrow it, so I think it's reported different. But if you're paying on it, that looks good.
Yeah.
So I have been paying on that, and I think it might be smart to try to get a loan and then just pay that all off.
Oh yeah, pay off all your other debt.
Just
Yeah,
that one medical bill. It's
consolidation.
like $1,100 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I went with a credit union now for my bank.
Mhm.
I'm with Intrepid Credit Union. I think they're only in Helena. Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But I've never used a credit union. And I was asking, I was like, what's the difference? And they're like, we're a nonprofit.
Right.
And that's what I hated about banks before. And I have heard things about, people that would work at banks where they're like, yo, I get bonuses for like overdraft fees.
Hmm.
And I've heard some shady things about some banks out there that they would kind of intentionally do things and not have things go through so that you would end up getting like an overdraft fee.
That's
Or
fucked.
sometimes they'd be like, line it up so you would have like a bunch of different transactions going through at different times. So it would create multiple overdraft fees.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's a shady world out there. But I finally got out of those cycles because I was stuck in a cycle of like um not being able to catch up.
Right.
But it helped me when I was like, yo, I got off the substances that were holding me back.
Hmm.
And then when it's like, yo, I'm not spending my money on all these other things that aren't helping me, then
Yeah.
I'm just putting my money in my credit.
Yeah.
And that's my new addiction. Where I'm like
Dude.
every day I'm checking my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like another one is investing too. Like,
Like
I kind of
Bitcoin or stocks.
well, I was talking about stocks,
Hmm.
but yeah, dude, I kind of got caught up in the whole like Reddit fucking Wall Street bets,
Mm.
GameStop and AMC one. Like I don't know if you heard about that at all, really.
I heard like
Um,
their stocks went like way up or they dropped off.
Yeah, well,
Maybe they dropped off so you could buy them real cheap or something. I don't know.
it started like, I don't know, like it was. I think it was 2020, kind of like a few months into the pandemic, or it might have been like right away. But yeah, it was like a meme. The stock itself became a meme, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so all these people were buying it, and they were trying to. They're kind of competing against these hedge funds, you know, these people that their whole company is devoted to like trading stocks and having all these different tactics to make money off the stocks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of working, you know, like they were basically just trying to wait out. It was just like a waiting game, you know, people holding on to their stocks and kind of trying to control this one stock through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of working, dude. Like, um, you know, like I think because you can look at the charts and it's pretty insane, like because it was, you know, like $50 or something for the longest time, or maybe even less. It was like, you know, $12 or something, whatever, you know, it's pretty cheap. Um, and then I think the highest it got was like 370 or something like that, 370 per stock, you know.
Hmm.
But that's a whole different thing, you know. It is like it's they call it a meme for a reason, you know, like calling it a meme stock. Um,
Right.
and there's smarter ways to invest, you know. And I got into it, and I kind of thought it was cool, you know. But like I said, like there's smarter ways to do it, you know. There are ways where you can make money just, you know, if you got $100 here and there to invest in some smart stocks, you know, and over time you just let it build. Like,
Yeah, that's what I would do with. You have Cash App at all?
mhm,
Yeah. Say I buy some stocks and I just need to buy them again because I think I pulled them all out a while back.
right,
But my new philosophy is just gonna be like I'm just gonna buy it and like leave it there
for
forever.
sure.
Basically, I'm like 10 years from now, and my kids are adults. I'll be like, yo, I just kept dumping money into Disney and Apple and Amazon. And
Well, yeah, really, just like just the companies that you like and you believe in, you know.
Mhm.
If
But
you
they are
really believe.
used by like everybody too. I feel like.
Mhm. No, I mean, like that. I think that is a smart way to go about it, is instead of just following the hype and like going online, reading what other people are saying is going to be valuable, you know, just investing in the companies that you actually believe in, you know.
Yeah, and that are gonna be around forever. Like I'm like, fucking Walmart is gonna be around forever.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, dude, like
and like we
no
shop
matter.
at Walmart. No matter how much I'd be like, oh fuck the corporations. I'm like, dude, we shop at Walmart. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, if,
and
if you if you would have bought, like, even, you know, like 10 years ago, I'm sure a stock for Walmart was, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was then or what it
I
is
don't know,
now.
but you could drop $100 into it. You could drop
Right.
1,000. You know.
Yeah. And if you would have did that 10, 20 years ago, I don't know how much money that would have made you, but for sure,
I'm doing the same
be
with
something.
Bitcoin now too, where
Yeah. I'm not so sure, dude. I'm not, I mean, I think I bought like $4 worth of Bitcoin. I
mhm.
don't think I can find it now, but
Or did you lose money on it?
well, it's gone down quite a bit. The whole the
Uh,
whole crypto shit is like
yeah,
not
I'm
looking
not
good.
sure what to think about it, but I am still interested in digital currency and NFTs. But see, the thing I need to do is I need like $250 in Bitcoin
Mm,
to mint one NFT. So I'm like,
right.
one day I do hope to, if this is going to be part of the future still, I would like to have a collection of NFTs.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I I feel like NFTs are, honestly, it feels like just like either it's not there yet or it feels like a scam, because
Right.
a lot of people are like, I don't understand it, I don't get it. It's, I mean, it's not really that complicated. It's just you're basically paying for a receipt. Like
Right.
you're paying for a proof of ownership of something that you can't really own, like unless it is something that's like on a server where you own this certain chunk of the server. Like
Yeah, where
that's
they'll sell like digital real estate.
yeah,
Or
like that's
whatever.
something I can understand, because that is like, if it's just like you bought this JPEG of a tweet, people can just copy that, like how do you really own that?
What it makes me think of is if we get deeper into the metaverse, which I don't know, you've been using your Oculus.
Not as much as I thought I would. I need to buy a good game, because I haven't bought any games yet.
Well, I just think if we get deeper and deeper into the metaverse, where it's like, yeah, 10 years from now, people are spending the majority of their time in the virtual digital world, where they might be like, yo, I bought this. This is my land in the digital world, and this is my house, and this is my skins I've bought, and this is my, I don't know, if they're like, yo, I spent $10,000 on this piece of art in my digital world.
Right.
I'm like, what? Or like the things where they're like, I've heard of them buying like ownership of like an interview. Or like there was a 60 Minutes interview with like Mac Miller. So I don't know.
Right.
I'm like, dude, this is so weird. What people are, okay. It makes me think of the pineapple thing. Have you heard about that back in the day?
Maybe, I don't know.
Where they were like, the pineapple had so much value. I don't know if there wasn't very many pineapples or something,
Oh, right.
but like rich people would buy pineapples just to carry around
Mm-hmm.
because it was like a way of showing how wealthy you are.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just, but I believe more in, I'm not really into all that shit. I'm more interested in being like, yo, I'm going to get solar panels and a garden and fucking land,
Right.
and be like, some real physical, real world stuff. I'm more interested in the real world than this virtual world, because I don't want my kids to get super sucked into the virtual world. We love video games and movies and stuff, but I'm like, look, man, at the end of the day, the sky and the sun and the fucking grass and water,
Mm-hmm.
that's real life, you know.
That just recently I started to see uh, people on the internet, they'll, instead of just like, how someone will just come up and then all of a sudden everybody's like kind of using that phrase or whatever.
Oh, like
Um,
sus or
for
something.
sure. Yeah, yeah. The new one is touch grass. Because someone will just be freaking out online and someone will just be like,
Oh,
dude, go touch some grass. Like, go outside.
dude. Yeah, when we were at I was on the Immortal tour, and there was this like, I think it was on a reservation in Oregon, or it seemed like a hippie commune almost type of place, And this homie, I don't remember what his name was. It might have been something like Brown Bear or something like that. But he gets up and he's doing his rap, and it was pretty much like a freestyle, I think. And he was the dude that gave us like a whole big gulp full of mushrooms. He comes around and he's doing his set, and he's like, I go into the woods and I touch the ground, and anything I speak, it comes around. And I was like, it just really made me think about, I remember tripping one time and just touching the ground and being like, feeling how powerful it is to just, have that connection with the earth.
For sure, dude.
And we forget about that sometimes. We get so caught in society and, living in our apartment, driving a car to work,
Yeah.
working inside all day and using the toilet and making sure I've changed my light bulb today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like we take these things for granted. Like when the power goes out, we're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
the internet goes down. I can't log into my Wi-Fi server.
Dude, yeah. It's I I honestly can't wait. I've been wanting to go fucking swimming so bad. I mean, hasn't really been like crazy hot. It's been a couple days, but
Yeah, dude. The other
I'm
day,
just stoked.
I'm working right by the river. Independence Bank is like right by, you know where the walking bridge is, the old bridge in Great Falls.
Hmm.
It's basically literally right there. Like I could walk out the door and go on that walking bridge.
Right.
And so we're in there taping away, and my cousin's like, "Whoops, missed this one." And I was like, "Oh, whoops, my bad." And I like look out because it's hot. We're on the 3rd floor now, and it's hot.
Right.
And I look over at the water by the bridge. I'm like, "Oh man, I just want to jump off that bridge right now." And my cousin's like, "Hey, Jake, it's not that bad. It was just a piece of tape you missed." Because we're always cracking jokes. I'm like, "No, dude, it's so hot in here. I just want to jump in that water."
Right.
But keeping the mood light and joking around with the guys is so important.
For sure.
It's so easy to be like, "Fuck, it's hot in here. I hate my job." Ugh. It's not that I hate my job.
Yeah.
At times I used to think that though. I'm like, "Fuck my job. God damn it. I wish I was doing something else in my life." But, I've learned to just try to be happy with, what you're doing
Yeah.
and just to have like a purpose again. Cause I remember at times in my life when I was like, I feel like I don't know what to do with my life.
Hmm.
Just having that purpose. And even just doing these podcasts with you once a week. Super nice.
For sure, dude. Yeah. I think, we don't have to do like lists of everything all the time. I think doing some like paranormal type shit would be fun. Maybe like ghost stories or just like looking up. Actually, I have some right now. We should probably end it sometime soon because it feels like how long we've been going.
5 hours.
Right.
Yeah, we'll end it soon here. It's about 4:19, so you got about 1 more minute to hit it. No.
Right. Yeah, paranormal type shit or like
What do you have that you want to look up though? Something in mind?
yeah, it was this picture. So there was the headline reads here. I gotta go to screen share. The headline. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this picture I came across on Reddit. Yeah, this fucking dog man
What the?
picture. Yeah, dude.
Werewolf or something?
Well, I have no idea.
It looks like some sort of creature from Middle Earth.
It looks like the bad Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah, Ugly Sonic.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, dude, Ugly Sonic, he's in the new Chippendale. Oh my gosh, it does. It
Creepy.
reminds me of this thing, an old movie, A Gnome Named Norm.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that gnome.
Dude,
So what, did they have a story about it or anything? There's like strange photo.
and they were just asking the internet if they knew. I mean,
What do you think?
the Dogman shit is pretty creepy. I don't know if it's a Dogman.
I believe in, well, I believe that there could be strange creatures out there. I do believe in like vampire-like people, or people that are more dog-like, like lichens, you know? Because in my mind, I'm like, dude, I feel connected with like, I always felt like connected with like the werewolf type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or the tick where I'm like doing the moon is full, I might be acting a little crazier.
Yeah.
But I have heard of things in like Russia where there was
Mhm.
some hybrid experimentation of like putting like
Yeah.
mixing like dog genetics and human genetics, or they would try to take like a dog's head and put it on a human body.
I heard that.
And some people don't want to believe this, but I'm like, no, dude, there are mad scientists out there. There are like psychos too. I seen one the other day that was fucking haunting on my TikTok.
What was it?
Well, it was about they were like, there was this person found in a house that was like, the torso had like a bunch of other arms sewn onto
Mhm.
it.
Right.
And then they were like, and then there was another body in there found with like a bunch of the legs sewn onto it. So it had like 8 arms or something. And then another one had like 8 legs. And then
Dude.
they found all these. So then they like tracked down the serial killer psychopath that, like, you know, in his house. So like there was tons of dismembered human bodies. I'm like, dude, there's fucking psychos out there that are into that. I don't know how they're even into that, but
Right.
that's why I'm like super cautious, and especially with like my kids and stuff, where I'm like, I don't want them to come across this shit on the internet, or even just you know, when I walk through Walmart and I see the missing people
Mhm.
pictures,
Yeah.
and you know, there'll be adults, or even just like you'll hear about like indigenous women that are missing,
Hmm.
and you're just like, you know, where are they? Like somebody was talking the other day about some homies that went to Thailand. Like there was a Thai restaurant here, and they would go to Thailand on a trip.
Hmm.
And the owner of the place was like, all right, kids, they're probably like young adults, like, if you're trying to pick up a prostitute, let me help you with that, because you don't want to try that yourself. You know, you could end up getting robbed, or worse, you just end up in their sex ring.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like, I remember when our homie was gonna go meet his like new love in another country. I'm not gonna name names or nothing.
Hmm.
I got super paranoid,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, because I'm like, dude, I don't want you to end up in a human trafficking ring, you know, just because that shit's all nonchalant out there, you know. I don't know, like, you might not even
Right.
realize that's what's going on.
Yep.
But yeah, super
For real, man.
scary, because it's like, psychos.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's crazy too, because if you do it, like, if you just have a fascination with that stuff, like not human trafficking, but like surgeons, you know, like they at a certain level they are interested in like cutting people open, you know, like they're like,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
yeah, they're like stoked about it and they learn everything about it, and like that's their livelihood, you know. But you know, if you just go and like in your shop, you're cutting people open and you're same thing, you're just like, dude, this is sick. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just crazy that you're allowed to do it if you're, but I'm pretty sure it does lead to some people who are like, you know, they do go about the right ways of doing that shit, but they're also psychos, you know.
Well, yeah. So my wife had this job. She would clean. She had this client that she's like, yeah, he got really wealthy off of. It made medical instruments. Like he invented some new ones, and I was like, what the fuck? And she's like, she would go out to this place that was out in the sticks, sort of, you know, like way out there, that was like off the grid, solar panel, like this type of shit. And I was like, okay, you're gonna stop working for this person. Like, I don't
For
give a
real.
fuck if they pay you well and whatever. She's like, well, it's really nice. I'm like, don't.
Of course.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they're really nice, they're paying you well, they make medical instruments. I'm like, fucking psycho.
I mean, somebody's
Maybe
got to
not.
do it,
Maybe
though.
I'm like, maybe he's a good person, but I'm like, it's kind of, for me, my anxiety, paranoia, I was like, there's kind of some red flags or some
Yeah.
yellow flags, at least.
Right.
You know, I want to believe that people are good people, but, you know, it's just like they say about, you know, they ask fucking like Chris Hansen, the catch predator, like, how do you spot a predator?
Right.
And he's like, you can't spot him in a crowd.
It's fun.
Like they're not the ones that stand out, you know.
Right. For sure.
But yeah, that's the weird thing. Like when I walk in the AA the other day, I'm like, well, they're definitely gonna notice me because fucking crazy hair or tattoos all over, you know.
Right.
But whatever, I guess. Be yourself, and just like you probably walking into your apartment, like a bunch of old folks, and like, who's this young man with all the tattoos?
Right. Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't live in that time where I think a lot of people don't judge a book by its cover much anymore.
They for sure do.
Oh, yeah,
But,
people are still
you know.
racist.
Yeah. It's people are definitely more accepting of that type of shit, but people still judge you, like just quick, you know, 1 second judgments, you know.
Of course, I have mine too, where I'm like, it's just a human nature thing.
Yeah.
Where you're like, well, that person is definitely a tweaker.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Well,
I mean, so yeah, I'll try to think of like some other segment ideas I could bring to the table.
Yeah, me too. I like the dream idea. I do like the list ideas as well, and the financial stuff. You know, and I do like the paranormal stuff. And if we do, because I'll listen to a lot of podcasts that they're like specifically, they'll be like, on this podcast, we're gonna talk about this unsolved mystery or whatever.
Right.
And I'm all about it, bro.
For sure. Fuck yeah, dude.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next podcast. This one was rad.
57.
57, yeah. I'm not really doing so many with like guests nowadays. If they hit me up, sweet. But I would like to one day. I might have to upgrade my account so we could do double, like the Busty guy. Like if we could get that guy on, it'd be cool if you and I could chat with him, you know.
For sure.
So
yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, I feel like It'd be cool just to have like, if it's just going to be just me and you, then having these other things that can make it like more entertaining and, you know, even more interesting for us to do each time, you know.
Well, we'll get better at it once we get to like up to 100 and we start figuring this shit out. Because in my mind, I'm like, dude, we're still a baby right now. You know?
Yep.
Podcast is just a baby. I don't
Dude.
plan on stopping this ever.
Well, yeah, mine isn't even born yet. I haven't even made it yet. And I still want to do it, man.
We're fathering this. It's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, bro.
This is our new baby, XROADZ podcast. It's still in a just.
We're
ain't even
rearing
got
it.
teeth yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still on the teat.
Yep. Fuck yeah, dude.
Well, hell yeah. To anybody that's even listening out there, we're going to be getting better at this stuff. And if you got ideas for lists, I'm going to start getting other people involved somehow. I'm going to start promoting it more. Like, you know, and that's why I'm trying to brand everything under XROADZ so it all kind of intertwines. And that, yeah, we'll get more people interested. So shout out to all the listeners out there. We get some random ones. I'll chop up some clips, break them up into little segments. And, you know.
Next time we'll get the intro right.
Next time we'll get the intro right, and I'll be on top of it. So.
And I'll have my AirPods.
And I don't know. I'll shave my beard and my head. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Definitely not doing
Better do it. Oh.
I'll be shaving my chest. No.
Right. You're shaving something.
Shaving
my feet.
something. Yeah.
Shaving your feet.
Yeah, dude. Hopefully I have some news on it. I sold a picture of my feet. Yeah.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
All right, peace out. I'm going to go get these feet dirty and get some new pictures shot.
Word.
Walk into the crossroads barefoot. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, later.
Peace, everybody.